all year long, people have talked about what if the Nuggets don't make it to the NBA Finals? What if they don't make it to the conference? What if they don't make it to the second round? What if they get knocked out? All I've heard is what if they don't? But never did really people talk about what if they do make it to the conference finals. A lot of people had the Suns beating them in the second round, and I said to myself, this team is too well built. And I've most importantly been blown away, Brandon, by Michael Malone. I don't know if you've listened to his interviews during games, but the guy's locked in this postseason, and he has done a fabulous job with his second unit, a much better job keeping his team engaged. The Nuggets in the past have had very bad sequences, moments defensively, but this year in the postseason, against the Suns in the first round, they played as good of a defense outside of their game 4 loss, where they're hemorrhaging one open three after another, as he can against Devin Booker playing like Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant playing alongside him. Those two guys had to score 82 points combined to barely edge out the Nuggets, even on the road. So I look at this Denver team. They're playing the Lakers in the conference finals. And I want to take a step back for a second to appreciate the best offensive big we've ever seen. Because at this point with Jokic, it's unbelievable his mid-range shooting. I mean, his 1-foot flip shots, floaters, and jump hooks are automatic. This year he shot 61% of them. Again, something he's damn near done for his entire career. At the rim, he's one of the best rebounders offensively. And dude, his second jump as well, he gobbles every single offensive rebound for putbacks. And you would think for a guy that's not known as an athlete, he wouldn't be getting so many second and third time jumps and tip-ins. He's playing volleyball out there. And that's not even to discuss his playmaking, because what Michael Malone instilled since he came in for this team in 2016 is off-ball movement. And so they've got all these flare and down screens opening up Michael Porter Jr., who's slowly but surely living up to this expectation of a max player and a number 3. Jamal Murray doesn't have to play well because we got KCP coming off action and killing transition. The question is this Denver Nuggets team being overlooked? And how do you feel about them going into this Western Conference rematch versus the Los Angeles Lakers starting on Tuesday in the Mile High?
Well, yeah, to start off, I mean, I thought Denver, well, I mean, when we had the conversation Denver versus Phoenix, I was going back and forth. I was like, this is going to be a tough series. I thought it was going to go 7, but I did pick Denver in the end of it because of what you said, the continuity that they built around their stars and their guys. Now we got Denver versus LA. Now, I was the only one really on the show that had the faith in the Lakers. You were telling me it's not possible. It's not going to happen. Justin was saying they're too inconsistent. It's not going to happen. It did. I've been going back and forth again with this series. This one is another tough series because I do believe Jokic is making the game look very easy, right? He is. It is like you've said. It's unbelievable to watch the man that he can barely jump on a curb, okay, and he's out there dominating the game of basketball. But he's going up against a guy who, while offensively he has been hit and miss this playoffs, defensively he has not been. Defensively, Anthony Davis has been the best defensive player in the league in these playoffs. He has. Mm-hmm. His motor is not running low defensively. That's going to be a tough matchup for Jokic. I'm not saying AD is going to shut him down. I'm saying he can make it very tough, make it very difficult on Jokic, maybe slow him down a little bit. Maybe have, those numbers instead of being 60% from the field or 55%, maybe, 48, 47. And on the other end, I mean, I feel like if AD's motor isn't even running high, he should be able to get 20 points on Jokic. Like, I'm sorry, but we know Jokic's liabilities on defense. Anthony Davis should be able to, in his sleep, get 20 points on Nikola Jokic. That's with a low running motor. He should be able to get 20.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yes.
Okay.
Much so.
I don't.
Nikola Jokic, his weakness is hemorrhaging, giving up mid-range shot making, and AD is one of the most inconsistent and unreliable mid-range shooters in the game. Jokic is best against bigs. We're going to try to pummel you down to the rim. And against a roll man like AD, he's not going to punish you. in the short roll oftentimes. I think it's actually a great defensive matchup for Nikola, who this year in the postseason, Brand, he's had to chase around Devin Booker, hedging ball screens, and Anthony Edwards at times. The Lakers don't have a wing like that that's going to punish you coming off a ball screen and pick and roll. But at the same time, outside of LeBron, who's oftentimes going to be taking a backseat role earlier on in the game, I don't think the Lakers are going to vehemently attack him. Now, they will get him into some fouls because they draw the most fouls in the league, but I don't think he's going to be exploited as much as he was versus the Suns, and he held up pretty damn good. They defended Phoenix very well. Those are two teams in the Lakers and Suns that both don't have really high-end shot making around their two stars. They're both at times consistent, but by and large, they're below average deep shot making teams.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I think they're going to line up AD a lot, feed him early and often in the post on Jokic, and there's nowhere for Jokic to hide. He's going to have to match up one-on-one with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is not DeAndre Ayton. Anthony Davis is not Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert. This is Anthony fucking Davis we're talking about. This is a guy who can average 28 in his sleep. All right, and he's go and go ahead.
What does Jokic do best defensively, you think?
I mean, he's got a very high basketball IQ. I know that much.
What does he do best defensively?
You tell me. What does he do best defensively?
In the post.
Okay.
The strongest players in the league, BC. What's he going to do well against AD? Guard him in the post. They're not going to try that against Nikola. He's an issue in space.
Okay, so you don't think so? What do you? So I'm trying to understand where you're coming from here, right? Because I don't understand what you're trying. I'm saying Nikola Jokic's weakness is obviously on the defensive end.
But where on the defensive end is the question?
It doesn't matter. Defensively, he is not a good defender. He's not a good defender. I've seen it. He's not a good defender. That's fine.
If you watch Nikola Jokic defensively, what does he struggle the most doing? Guarding in space against teams like the Warriors.
This is the playoffs, man. This is the playoffs. Okay, I'm telling you right now. I'm really trying to understand because you're basically saying, because I've seen it I saw it against the Warriors, then match up Draymond and AD, and then feed AD in the post. I saw it. I saw that happen. Okay. I saw it in the playoffs against JJJ. That guy, the defensive player of the year. Match up with Anthony Davis in the post. Jokic is not on Draymond or Triple J's level. And go look at the numbers.
Look at the numbers. Anthony Davis had a stinker every other off game offensively.
He did against top-level defenders. Two of the best defenders probably in the league right now. Is Jokic, let me ask you a simple yes or no question. Is Nikola Jokic overall defensively on Triple J or Draymond's level? Are they even in the same stratosphere?
He's like 3 tiers below them.
Okay, then. That's all I'm saying. Can Jokic give him a little trouble because he's heavy in the bottom side and he's going to match up physically wise with AD? Athletically, he's not, but physically he can match up size-wise, yes. But Anthony Davis should be able to get whatever the hell Anthony Davis wants. I'm sorry. This Anthony Davis. This ain't DeAndre Ayton like you were talking about last series, and I fully agree with you now. This is Anthony Davis.
The Suns are a different team than the Warriors, the Lakers. And what you're going to see in this matchup, Brandon, is the Nuggets are going to run a lot. And they're going to do everything they can, and they're going to succeed in getting Anthony Davis out of the paint. Nikola, from the top of the key in the high block, is a surgical playmaker. But in this postseason, after the Timberwolves series where he was still healing from a wrist injury, he's been shooting better on those top of the key threes. And if you're getting that up wide open, you're going to see games where Jokic hits 4 or 5 threes. So if you're taking AD out the paint, now he's got to run more. He's going to run out of a little bit more gas. And he's also going to be less impactful as a rim protector where he's clearly at his best.
You're arguing a different point now. You're arguing a different point. I told you offensively, Jokic is making the game look easy. I'm not talking about that side.
He's going to make Anthony Davis work more defensively.
Yeah, he's going to. Yes, they're both going to make each other work. It works on both sides.
He's going to have less stamina defensively and on offense as well to create for himself, where This series is going to be more of a track race.
John,
The Nuggets have been getting stops, and if they're making your guys run more, you're just going to have less to give on offense.
Not disagreeing with you there. They're both going to make each other work, okay? Because when you're usually the two big men, these dominant big men, you're going to match up one-on-one with each other most of the time. There usually is not going to be that much switching when it comes to big men. You can get it here and there, but for the majority of the time, usually you're matching up mano-a-mano. They're both going to make each other work. I do believe that, yes. Now, if you ask me this, who can make it more difficult on who defensively? I'm going to say AD can make it more difficult on Nikola Jokic than Jokic can make it on Anthony Davis defensively. That is just because Anthony Davis is a all-world defender and Nikola Jokic is not. That's something I think universally we can all agree on. That's not a crazy statement. I truly do believe that. I'm sorry. But you're starting to argue another point, which I actually agree with. So again, if I didn't say something, I don't act like I'm not agree. I agree with you. Yes, I've brought up Denver's home court advantage throughout the playoffs. I said it was going to be very difficult for the Phoenix Suns in Denver. Okay, especially because of KD's age and the stamina running up and down the court in that high altitude. I said going into this series, when Denver looked like they were going to win the series against the Suns and they were on a collision course with the Warriors or the Lakers, I said, Lakers and Warriors, hell, man, that's going to be tough to win in Denver. I got it written down right here. It's going to be tough to win in Denver because you got LeBron James, who is 38 years old. His conditioning is going to be tested. And you got Anthony Davis, who, like you said, it seems like he's always hurt all the time too. It's going to be tested. And we've seen this is a very underlooked stat in this playoffs. John, the Denver Nuggets have 3 losses in these playoffs. Where have all 3 of those losses taken place? On the road. On the road. That's something to very, very look at for Denver. They have a great home court advantage. They were under 500 on the road during the regular season. All 3 of their losses in the playoffs have been on the road. That's going to be a tough task as well for them to go to LA and to win that. It seems like they are different. I don't know if it have a lot to do with that altitude where when they get out of there, now the other team is playing like they actually can play. I don't know if that has to be the case. I would not be surprised if it did because Denver, you talk to any athlete, you listen to any athlete that has fought, played, or whatever the hell in Denver, they'll tell you it's different. Oh, it's different. We saw it. You saw it firsthand. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards too. You saw firsthand Leon Edwards couldn't get out. That wasn't in Denver, but that was in Utah. They have high altitude in Utah. It's very similar. But yeah, I agree with you. That on the road for Denver and at home for I should say at home for Denver, I honestly expect them to probably take care of business. LA, the pressure is going to be on them on the road. They need to win both those games. It really comes down to that saying that you've brought up a couple of times throughout this playoffs. The series don't start till the road team wins. And I think it's going to come down to that this series because as it's going to be, can Denver steal one in LA? Can LA steal one in Denver? It's going to be tough. We know LeBron has been dealing with I think he came into the playoffs with a right ankle injury and now his left ankle is bothering him. We know he's dealing with a lot, right? He doesn't look right. He doesn't have that same burst. Anthony Davis, like you alluded to, I'm not just, he has been stinker everywhere offensively every other game. The last couple of games offensively, though, in Golden State, he has shown up. He hasn't been needed in a couple of those games, but he has at least, shot well. It's defensively where he is, at his apex right now. But yeah, I do expect this to go 7. I don't know about you. I expect this to go seven games.
This series is going to be a movie.